All right, kicking off another big hour here on the Steve Gruber Show. Glad you're here for the conversation live from Studio G and fighting for you from the foxhole. Remember, this program can result in extended periods of American pride and enthusiasm in the future. Keep that in mind. Live in all 50 states and around the world. It's a dirty job, and I'm here to do it. Three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, Congresswoman Nancy Grace came completely unglued in the cosmetics aisle when a man challenged her on having enough town hall events for constituents. I'll tell you about that. Number two, MS-13 apologist and poster child Senator Chris Van Hollen admits he never asked the deported El Salvador citizen if he's also a gangbanger. Never even bothered to ask. And then number three, the middle of the night Supreme Court ruling. I'll get to that, but we're going to start with the death of Pope Francis early today in the Vatican, 7:35 local time. In the Vatican, the death of Pope Francis revealed. He was 88 years old. They are now gathering in mourning around the world for Pope Francis. Controversial pope, to say the least. A progressive pope who really annoyed some of the more conservative members of the diocese around the world. We'll see if there's a change in how this all plays out now. One of the people that that has been suggested for replacing the Pope now is, I got to pull this guy's name up. It's not an easy name. His name is Athanasius Schneider. He's from Kazakhstan. And his concern is the invasion of Europe by non-Christians. Some people suggest this guy would make a good pope. You listen and you tell me. Here he is.
Yes, this is very serious. Now we are witnessing an invasion. They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe, which already went on for at minimum 50, 60 years, Islamization in Europe. But now it is in mass. It is very evident. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe culturally and religiously. I mean, to destroy Christianity ultimately in Europe, with the help of the massive Islamic population. And I was reading recently an article of a sociologist who made a calculation that maybe in 30 or 40 years, when it's now going on, so the majority of the population of Europe will be Islamic. Europe will be Islamic when this will go on, because the European people have almost no children, one or two. The Muslims there, they have 5, 6 to 10 children. And so it is, you can only make mathematics, and then you can see that they will be in the majority. And so maybe it is a permission of God that then the church, being surrounded by an Islamic society which is not tolerant and which will not be tolerant, and then the Christianity, the church will be maybe purified with this. And the purification is good also sometimes.
There you go. Church must be purified, must defend Europe against this Islamification. Chance of him becoming Pope, probably not very high. Probably not even on the short list. But I put it out there to suggest that there are people that can put a more conservative spin in the leadership of the Catholic Church. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Speaking of the invasion of illegal aliens, the middle of the night Supreme Court ruling blocking President Trump from deporting the illegal aliens in this country has laid bare the truth. The courts are undermining the voters of America who voted for mass deportation and want the illegals thrown out of this country. Look, the courts were never supposed to sit there and second guess the president. The district court judges were not supposed to have the power for nationwide injunctions or to stop the I mean, if this were true, the district judges in the 1960s and 70s would have stepped in to stop the civil rights movement. Biased judges that didn't like the civil rights movement could have stepped in and stopped President Eisenhower or Kennedy or Johnson or Nixon. Justice Samuel Alito blasted the failure of the court, but some think there is still hope. Former Deputy Attorney General John Yoo thinks the Supreme Court will back President Trump on immigration policies in the end. I remain skeptical, but here's what he said. Listen.
Exactly right, Griff. This is about who controls all those, and there's about 675 federal trial judges spread out all over the country. And some of them have been bringing the federal government, bringing President Trump's agenda to a screeching halt, even though they don't have anybody, say, who works for the government or any of the illegal aliens or any of the spending in their own courtrooms. And so what's going on here, I think it's important to understand, is that the Supreme Court is already signaling that they're very sympathetic to the Trump administration. The Supreme Court scheduled oral argument for May 15th. It never hears cases in May. Usually they'd be done their business and they'd be sending out opinions by now. They've called basically a special session in order to hear President Trump's claims that there should not be unlimited nationwide injunctions, but that they should be under the control of the Supreme Court. Whether you agree or disagree with President Trump's order on birthright citizenship, they may not even get to the question, because the key thing here is for the Supreme Court to put an end to these 675 trial judges who all think they can run foreign policy, spending, and hiring throughout the federal.
Bring an end to it. Bring an end to it. Meanwhile, Senator Van Hollen, Chris Van Hollen, an embarrassment, says that you and I paid for Margarita Fest to meet the MS-13 gang member from El Salvador. Put on the spot, here's what he said.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared, congressional trip, cleared on a bipartisan basis. Yes, like every other trip.
Yeah, there you have it. We paid for it. I'd like to share with you Charlie Kirk on Bill Maher. I don't have time for that. Charlie Kirk was on Bill Maher. They got into the whole issue about Abreu Garcia. Bill Maher basically loses that conversation. No surprise. But where do you stand on this? If a mistake was made about how he was removed from the country, should he be brought back? He is an illegal alien. That's not an issue. That's a fact. He was here illegally from El Salvador. It's not an issue that there were restraining orders against him by his wife for domestic violence. That is not an issue. Whether or not he's a member of MS-13, there seems to be some debate on that. But if you're in the country illegally, what else do you need to know? If you're here illegally, what else needs to be discussed? And that's a fair question. If you're here illegally and therefore you're removed for being in the country illegally, which is what every country in the world does to people illegal. Well, some countries just shoot you. So that's a little bit more extreme. Some countries, they just shoot you when you come into their country illegally. We don't do that. How would you like to see it handled? I'd like to discuss that with you. All right, going forward. New England fishermen calling on Elon Musk and Doge to save their industry. Can it be done? Is fishing in New England dead, or can it be saved? We'll talk about it coming up.